Here we go yet again. How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about some funny business going on with the California recall election. Now, before I get into a video, which I do have, of course, I got to back up a little bit here to explain to you what's going on, just so we have proper context. Now, the California governor recall election is officially tomorrow, Tuesday, September the 14th, 2021. However, there's been early voting and mail-in voting before the actual day. And there's already been some weird things going on that I'll talk about a little bit later. But this is going to be a really big election because if you take Gavin Newsom out as a governor and put, let's say, a conservative guy in there, that's going to cause some serious issues in the state of California. Now, I know they're pretty much stacked top to bottom with Democrats, far leftist, crazy, extremist Democrats, but a conservative governor in there could definitely shake some things up. And a lot of people do not want that to happen. And I believe they'll go through any means necessary to be able to prevent it from happening. Now, before I get into that rabbit hole, let's roll the clip. In this clip, you'll see testimony from a woman that's out there in California who tried to vote, but was not able to. You'll hear her reason why. You hear a little bit more. And after we get done watching that, I'll talk about what was said there. Then I give you my 2 cents, my deep detail analysis, and then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
It's quite a story. Good question. What is going on? We spoke with several concerned voters here in the West San Fernando Valley who believe something wonky had been going on at places like El Camino Real Charter High School in Woodland Hills. This place opened up as an early polling location, open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. daily, but several people tell us they showed up to vote this morning in the special California governor recall election and were told that computers showed they had already cast their ballots. So what? Staffers, they say, were apologetic and helpful, but those voters we talked to are extremely concerned, suspicious, and wanting answers. California native and current West Hills resident, 88-year-old Estelle Bender, spoke with us just a short time ago. What happened today and how shocked are you?
Very. I went to El Camino High School to vote, got there at 10:30, gave her this, and she scanned it and said, "You voted." And I said, "No, I haven't." And she said, "This has been happening all morning." The man next to me was arguing the same thing. So as I left, I did the provisional ballot and left. I was just really angry, and I saw two women walking toward me as I left, and I said, "Don't be surprised if they tell you you've already voted." And she said, "They've already done that." If I voted, how did I vote?
And who did you vote for?
Well, I asked the couple, the young women that I talked to, and I said, "Are you by any chance Republicans?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, so am I. And so are the two friends that had the problem at VFW." So.
Makes you suspicious.
I would think so. And still, I'd like to know how I voted.
All right, take a look. The LA County Registrar's Office released a statement tonight following our inquiries. A spokesman says the voters who experienced this issue were offered and provided a provisional ballot.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, question right away. Are you surprised that this is happening right now? I'm not surprised. I mean, I think the door was open to some funny business, skullduggery, whatever you want to call it, into elections when they say, okay, universal mail-in ballots, early voting whenever you want to vote, no restrictions, no identification, just go do whatever you want to do, right? I think this is the result. Do you think the woman in the video, 88 years old, was lying? Do you think that she was lying about how the person that she spoke to at the place when she was trying to vote, do you think she was lying when she said, the woman said it had been happening all morning? Do you think she was lying when she said the people that she spoke to were told that they already voted when they did not vote, when they were trying to vote? I don't believe that she was telling a lie right there. I think she was telling the 100% truth. We've seen this happen all over the country because of universal mail-in ballots, early voting. We've seen it happen all over the place. This is exactly why certain states are trying to fortify their elections in a serious way. Texas, for example, that's why the Democrats fled. They totally abandoned the state because they didn't want to vote on that. They know that in order to win certain elections, they need to keep certain doors open. Okay. Now, when you close those doors, that makes the election fair. Whether a Democrat wins, a Republican wins, it doesn't matter. But we got to have fairness. We got to have honesty, and we got to have security. Now, I know some super genius in the comments is going to say, but that's just one anecdote, one example out there in California. Well, we've seen it happen all over the country, the same exact thing. And we saw it in California. There was a guy who got pulled over. And if I can find that story, I'll place it in the box, maybe on the screen. Is in Torrance, California. Now, this guy got caught with, I believe, some money, like cash, perhaps, a pistol, illegal gun, some pills, and 300 ballots. Now, why would a guy be riding around with guns, drugs, cash, and ballots for the recall election? Why would that be going on? Is it because you got some of these people that are involved in criminal activity that are given certain missions to do that are all criminal? Okay, here's a mission, sir. Take these drugs and sell them in the street. You got to have a pistol to protect yourself out here because you got guys trying to rob you, trying to do whatever. And these ballots, we need to have these manipulated or whatever as well. And you're involved with crime. You're a criminal gangbanger. We'll pay you X amount of money for the drugs, for the guns, and for these ballots. And I'll make kind of an analogy, I guess you would say here. And I'll say this. Having 300 ballots in someone's car is like having 300 roaches in a house. If you go into a house, turn on the lights, and you see 300 roaches scatter, you probably have tens of thousands, maybe even millions more that you don't see. You don't know where they are. You don't know where the nest is at. So if you got 300 ballots in this car, I mean, how many other cars have a bunch of ballots in it? How many other ballots have been manipulated, destroyed, or whatever? And if I'm mistaken, please let me know. But in California, you could just vote as whoever because there's no identification required. Some of these so-called experts say, oh, there's no evidence of widespread voter fraud. How would you know that? How would you know that there was widespread voter fraud if the fraud was done in a way that you couldn't detect? If there's no identification required and you got all these ballots sent to everywhere, because with the mail-in ballots, universal, it just send it to anybody that's on a roll. So people are getting 4 or 5 different people's ballots sent to their homes. During the general election in 2020 for the presidential election, in DC, people were getting 8 and 9 different ballots sent to their apartment. What's to prevent them in a place where there's no identification required? What's to prevent them from filling out each ballot and mailing it? You're not even required to show up in person. So although they can't even identify you if you're in person, they would not even have a record of anyone coming in on camera or anything else. You couldn't even, there'd be no person to say, oh, I saw that person and they voted. You couldn't even, no witnesses, no evidence or nothing. You could just fill out the ballot and send it back, right? Do you think 81 million people voted for Joe Biden? I'm not saying they did. I'm not saying they didn't, but do you believe it? Do you believe it? You know, people have beliefs out there. Everybody's entitled to their beliefs. Everybody has faith. Everybody has whatever they think is correct. Everyone has their way of living life, and you're entitled to it. That's your opinion. Do you believe, in your humble opinion, that 81 million people voted for Joe Biden? I mean, it's hard for me to believe because I saw no enthusiasm. Nobody really likes this guy. I mean, we see what's going on. And I think the way to solve this is not to boycott. Because if you boycott, what's going to happen? They say, oh, well, you know what? You lost because you guys didn't even show up. You had low voter turnout. And if there's any kind of way to go and recover the ballots, any kind of investigation going on, and you didn't vote, you're not trying to vote, then they could say, oh, well, they didn't even, you got to go up there, you got to vote. If somebody already voted, you need to call in the police, file reports, get everything documented for the purpose of having an investigation. You can't just abandon the vote because then they could say, oh, well, you're not even really involved, right? Also, what's very important on a state level to pass certain measures, like what they did in Texas, they did it in Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, they're doing it everywhere to make sure that your vote counts, to not only restore confidence, which is very important, but to also just restore the vote. You can't just have people vote as whoever they want to vote for and have that just go on. The media will say whatever they want to say. The left-wing politicals say whatever they want to say. But ultimately, it's up to us, the people, we the people here in the good old US of A, to make things work the way they're supposed to work. We can't rely upon them. We got to rely upon ourselves. But as I close, I want to say this. Are you surprised here in California especially? Are you surprised? I mean, as I've said many times before and in this video, the way to solve it is to focus on local elections, focus on local processes. If you're able to volunteer at a place, if you're able to do whatever you can do, whatever you're able to do, you got to do it to ensure that these things don't go the wrong way. Always follow through. Don't become discouraged. They want you to become discouraged. They want you to just be like, oh, well, ain't no point in voting. I'm going to just fall back. They want you to do that because once that happens, then they could do whatever they want. There's no resistance from you. Don't fall into their trap. And I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How you feel about this California election? Is there some funny business going on? Do you live there? Have you experienced anything weird? Have you tried to vote and it said, nah, you already voted? Have you been getting multiple ballots sent to your home? Has that happened to you in other states? Whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I'm at with it. I say that everyone must stay vigilant. Don't become discouraged and fight this whatever kind of way that you can. You know what's going on. I know what's going on. And we got to be able to go above and beyond in Call of Duty to make sure that this is not continue to be the trend. You know, people kind of get discouraged and say, oh, well, we can't do nothing. At the end of the day, the people who are involved with the funny business and elections, having some strange things going on, they're just people. We are too. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.